Someone forgot to turn the microphone on. That should be a bit better. Audio is coming, folks. Okay. I should have done mime mode. Okay, let's see. How are we for synchronization? Since that seems to be the bugbear of my streams. Like, oops, that was loud. And I should have cleaned my bench before I started this, but there's just... it's a case of you take the opportunity when it arises to get down here and do something. I actually haven't been in this office all day. Okay, accuse Travis 3X, Dave Hutchman, Liverpool. Ah, Liverpool. The one thing anyone knows about Liverpool is football, and that's about it. And funny accents. But then I suppose, people would say, well, what about the Scottish? Paul Ogden, Teresa, MacBook repair. Hello. Out of sync. Crap. Back to the out of sync again, eh? Alright. Be right back. I don't know why I've got to do this every time. I've tried it before the stream. Okay. Stop. Let's see how we go now. I don't even know what I'm looking for. I still don't know what I'm looking for. Now here we go. I found what I'm looking for. The sync is way off. Audio's behind. Hopefully it's better after I did the clap. Belgium's watching. It's good. The Beatles. See, that predates me. I really wasn't into the music when the Beatles were around. Okay. And Travis was on the ball with the tunes. Well done, Travis. You win absolutely nothing but the pride of knowing that you were on the ball. Okay. So we got the sync back. Really went out of stream there. Alright, we got ourselves a A1932, which is of course the new age MacBook Air. And a lot of people don't like these, and I can understand why, because they are laden with the beloved T2 chip, which makes them a considerable pain in the posterior if things go wrong. And Russia's here. Hello, Russia. Need for Russia in the future, I do think. I'll wait and see. Well, someone put the wrong screw in there, I think. Hey, Matthew Chalk. In Portugal. Yeah, hot day there. How hot is hot over in Portugal? Because it was about 32 here, and that's centigrade, obviously, because we don't live in the past here. So, have I missed many people? No, I think we're good. Belgium's here too. Oh, neat. We've got pretty much most of Europe. Let's see if this was going to come off. Ah, yeah. A nice little dent there. This is, I believe, water damaged. Please tell me I put my USB-C power brick down here. I did not. I'm a complete moron. Alright. Well, let's have a look. Microscope, not functioning. One of those days. Oh, dear God. Yeah, I'm not sure this one's going to be repairable. I'm just waiting for the microscope. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty catastrophic. Okay, let's get the battery disconnected out of this and we'll worry about that later. Boop. Oh, already was anyway. I just wanted to take precautions. Louisiana. My wife was just watching a movie, I think maybe based in there. It was called Mudbound. I think it's got that horrible actor Garrett Hedlund in it. I say horrible because she liked him in as Murtagh in some dragon fantasy movie. Aragon, that was it. It was about the only movie that he looked reasonably okay according to her, but unfortunately in life and marriage you do have to deal with your partner's whimsical crushes and your disbelief on the fact that they even have them. And you're like, how? Why? I can't even see why you'd like him. Yeah, you can sort of tolerate crushes a bit more if you can sort of go, oh yeah, I can see why you like that one. Hey, New Zealand's here. Late for New Zealand. Okay, well, yeah, this is pretty much going to be pretty close to Cactus with that sort of demo. I'm going to take the board out completely. There's no point in me pretending that there might not be any damage on the other side. But I do like these MacBooks. Like I said, other than the T2 chip, I find mostly because they're just so dead easy to get out. There's like 3 or 4 screws and that's it. Or 5 or 6, I don't know. There's not many screws, put it that way. Scratchy nose. Hey, Peter Crystal. And some Australian. Q's, sick with the flu, gross. Hey, ZX. The chap's name is Garrett Hedlund. Now, most of you, if you've watched the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, Garrett Hedlund is Patroclus, Troy's cousin or whatever, that ends up getting his throat cut, which of course was highly comical to me at the time because it was like I knew that my wife had a thing for him, and to see him go down like that, well, it wasn't very mature of me, but I still found it amusing. But yeah, Garrett Hedlund is one of those actors that basically no one knows who he is. He specialises in ruining movies and being insignificant. He was also the guy that was in the new Tron 2 movie. He was Flint's son. Again, no one knows, which just absolutely amuses me to no end. Hey, Søren Schroeder. Anyway, so that's our little relationship sort of taunt joke slash thing. She doesn't get to do it quite so much with me because I tend to be too much of a flippity gibbet and I switch between a lot of different people. Okay. Well, oops. Someone forgot the screen. You really don't want to forget the screen on these ones. Hey, Mr. Hutton. Alright. See how catastrophically bad this is on the other side. Oh dear God, yeah. That's great. This person's... yeah, I really don't have a lot of hopes for this. This is more than just water damage. This is basically bin job. I mean, we'll give it a whirl, but I'm going to classify it already as a bin job. I'm getting to the point where I just don't have enough time in the day to spend stuffing around with this sort of level. If it, whatever that is, if it doesn't come up showing 20 volts pretty quickly, then I'm just going to classify it as a no fix, and if someone else wants to have a punt at it, then bravo, go ahead, because I don't have the time to chase rabbit holes, and this is most likely going to become one. But what I'm going to do is scoot off to the other side of the house, and I'm going to go pick up my USB power brick, and then come back and have a laugh at just how bad this is. Okay. Got a USB-C. What did I do with that chassis? Oops. I hate it when you get a little bit too cramped on the bench, and as you're trying to go about doing things, you have a tendency to knock stuff that just gets your head up and makes things worse. I'm not talking about just on YouTube videos, I'm talking about just everything. It's kind of like when you're in a hurry to get through the house somewhere, you're going to pick up pretty much every single door corner, door knob, door handle, slightly jutting out, skirting board, things like that. Hey, Mido Dido. Oh, so, it's early evening, so some hope yet. Sticking in the ultrasonic for an hour, that'd be about right, yeah. Stepfather got his flu shot 5 weeks ago. MacBook repair, that's really an unfortunate thing. The flu this year has been particularly bad, particularly here in Australia, of course. It seems to be exceedingly virulent. Contagiousness, it seems to be about the same, but it's definitely causing a lot of secondary effects on people. I was quite tempted to go and get it. I still may yet, but it seems like for the most part it's passed through this town now. It tends to up here follow the show, the what do you call it? The country show, whatever you want to call them, where all the carnival people turn up and all the people from out of town turn up and bringing them with them all their glorious little funky diseases. Coughing and spluttering them all over the place, and all their fingers all over everything. And then a couple of weeks after the show's been through here, everybody's getting sick. It's probably coincidental, but it's a pretty good designator of when things are going to go down south, health-wise, for a lot of people. Okay, I've shut that down. Yeah, Matthew, it's definitely... right from the beginning of the year, it was showing up to be a very bad run of flu for this year. Just the fact that it hit so early and it was hitting hard. How much for a fan spin up there? Same as everybody else. $1 billion. No. I'm going to plug this in just to see what it's doing, to see if we actually have any sort of response on our CD32 50s or whatever they are. Don't ask me the part numbers, I don't know. If you want to know part numbers and things like that, you ask people like Lewis Rossman. Okay, not surprised at all, we're only showing 5 volts. So, no great shock there. And in this case, yeah, we'll be the janitor. And we're just going to go forth, flux and boil. Oh yeah, I mean, I've got no problem with getting the shot or anything like that, and no problem paying for the shot. I know some people want it for free, I get that, some people don't have the budget to spare, but for me I've got no problem paying it. It's just a case of getting down there and doing it. I have a fairly limited exposure to people, but of course it only takes the one wrong person and then you're lying in bed regretting it. It's pretty scary. It's not totally reminiscent of the Spanish flu. It's the fact that it's knocking out young, healthy people is a bit of a concern. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna go in it. Go in at normal reflow temperature, why not? Even though I've got a wooden bench top that's replaceable, I am still putting down paper towel just because, well, it makes the bench top last that wee bit longer. Well, there's some serious part damage down there. And things catching on fire. Awesome. And things delaminating off. Even more awesome. Kids don't help. No, I completely agree with you there. I think that is actually one of the big problems we have in society. Well, actually one of them. There's multiple. But the whole schooling situation, kids are just superb vectors for contagious things. Because, they have no concept of quarantine or anything like that, and of course a lot of people are scratching by just to keep food in the cupboard, so they've got to go to work, which means they really need to get the kids off to school or something like that, and it just exacerbates the problem. Exacerbates, yeah. The other problem is just people being forced to go to work, because if they don't, they'll lose their job or they lose hours, even though they're quite likely legally permitted to take time off. It's like, it's all very convenient to be legally being able to take time off. It's another thing to actually be able to take time off. I know there's plenty of people on shift work who say aren't on permanent full-time status. If they take time off for sickness, then quite often they get shuffled to the bottom of the queue for the next round of scheduling. So the problem is that doing the right thing costs too much for most people, and so most people will just take their drugs or whatever to numb the pain a little bit, enough for them to get through, and they'll sniffle, sneeze and snot their way through the day, and probably subsequently spread things around quite a bit. It'd be nice if things were taken a little more seriously and people weren't punished for putting themselves into quarantine. And going to the doctor, I mean, that's just, half the time that just sucks. It's like, what are you going to do? Spend 3 hours in a doctor's surgery waiting to be told what's pretty obvious is that you're sick as guts, just so you can get a note for your employer. Yeah, the system does not reward you doing the right thing in that case. Oh, that's weird. That should have actually triggered over. Sorry. There we go. Let me try that again. That's not triggering. Now I'm triggered. Yeah. Yeah. If you're an anti-vaccine type person, then you're pretty much best not hang around here because mathematically it seems to certainly be doing the trick. And you want to go and debate those things, you can do it elsewhere, not here. Likewise, if you're on a flat earth, I'm not here to entertain flat earthing or NASA faking or that sort of stuff. You're welcome to the view, but if you're trying to push it here, you can take a hike, go walk off the edge of the flat earth straight into a whole bunch of viruses that will take you out because you didn't have your vaccines. Enjoy. Let's see. Kill all -9. Switch. Ah. Chromatic, really, don't even try. Start. I'm really not interested in this or that. I mean, you're right, there are some that aren't as effective overall, but usually they're dealing with some exotic situations. But the ones we generally have in society for normal things, measles, mumps, all that sort of stuff, they're more than effective. And I'm really not interested in debating otherwise because mathematically it's all there. And you can call me ignorant or whatever, I don't really care. I get enough people saying that sort of stuff every day of my life for other things, so yeah, not interested. I mean, like I said, you can stick around for the show of this, but try peddling the whole anti-vax thing. That will definitely earn you a get out ticket. This isn't the place for it. This is the place for board repairs and me pushing whatever I want to push. I don't know what this is, but it had a lot of fluff in it, so it's difficult to say. It could be milk damage. It certainly has a consistency of milk damage. Is the switch kicking in? Yes. I don't know why the switch died, given that it was running fine. Sometimes the software, I think because it runs 24/7, sometimes maybe it just gets a little bit of a memory leak or something, even though it shouldn't. Yep, ready to ship. So here we go. It's 5 volts. Yeah, well, that's no great surprise. 5 volts, 40 milliamps, definitely no surprise there. We're going to have to actually start doing something here. Hey, Dragon. What bothers me here are there's some really messed up resistors. They're probably some sort of pull-ups or signal ones, so we're just gonna try and gently see what we got. we can proceed to wash it down with the isopropylene now, simply because of the fact that, well, we've already ascertained that it's not in a functional state. Yeah, there wasn't some little hair of corrosion holding together two parts that made it work. At this point, it's basically, it's cactus, and so we need to try and uncactus it by scratching my nose yet again. Oh, there's so many. I mean, this thing must have been chewing away on its power for quite a while after the liquid got into it. You can tell by the fact that a lot of the parts have corrosion on one side, like these here. Whereas if it's just normal sitting corrosion where it's something's pulled in and they haven't noticed for a few weeks or whatever, it will generally corrode equally. But it looks like this was running. Stuff hit the non-existent fan in here, and yeah, it just started to really go south. That's some serious, Incredible Hulk stuff there. I still can't get it clear, but by the looks of it, this CD USB chip down here is probably where it's corroded through. So I might flux it up, try go for the reflow. I'm just trying to see if I can clear out any junk and try and get an idea, see if I've knocked off any parts, whether a lot of those little crusties that I thought might have been burnt resistors are actually just crusties. But 99% likely this chip here will have to be replaced, which is going to be fun because I don't think I've even got one of those on hand. I haven't got my check yet from the Flat Earth Society for continuing the scam, which is why I'm now deciding to go ahead with the round Earth conspiracy. Because really, I think it's actually the Chinese and the Russians that are trying to destroy our patriotic Western duty of believing in science. That was bollocks, by the way. I'm really just making up crap there. In case people are just like, oh my god, he's believing in this. Fair warning, 99.9% of everything I say on this channel is probably bollocks. Yeah, I'm just reaching here for anything, and I'm being lazy because I don't want to. Come on, Paul, just do it. The flux is a hideous hair in it. Ew, that's gross. The great thing about conspiracy theories is that there's so many of them. They're like standards, and you can pick and choose whichever one you want. You know, so ooh, I'll take this conspiracy or that conspiracy. And the best thing is, once you've picked your conspiracy theory, you can then divide yourselves between what variant of that conspiracy is the true one. That's the best bit. And then those groups can split off into their variants. So it's essentially infinitely divisible. And in the end, everybody just hates everybody. It's fantastic. scrape those crust bunnies off. Oh yeah. Cues, yeah, there's probably a bunch of shorts around here. I thought I'd just try my luck with shifting that chap around. I haven't even opened up the schematic yet. I should really check these. I pretty much am sick of looking at schematics right now, in all honesty. Really, really sick of it. Because the last couple of weeks I've been doing nothing but having my head in... Oh, look at that. We've got a nice fat short. Well, but we needed to clear that out. There was so much crud under there. It wasn't going to go anywhere. Okay, so we've got a short on those caps there. Let's find out what they are. God damn it. Now I've got to open up board view. I hate opening up the board view. Opening up the board view is an admission that you weren't good enough to work it out on yourself. A 1521. Ah, sweet Bridget. I don't think I've got a 1521. Alright. Let's see if we've got a 1521. Ah, feels like family wheel. Or whatever it is. Whatever that... What's that? Family Feud. That's it. Flexboard view. Shift you over there. Let's go for you all in. Put something under the microscope to make it interesting. Hey Alex Canty. Yeah. Ah, 1521. I do actually have that one. I think, was this the 1521? Sure, looks like it. Okay. So, I haven't even got my orientation. Here we go. Speaker. Well, that's no fun at all. That's completely useless to us. Yeah, cues, there's so many dodgy looking bits and pieces on this. Oh wait, no, this is the one. PV bus G3 hot. Alright. Well, what do we do when we get a short on our PP bus? We put power to it and unleash the short's true power. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, inner pins. Yeah, so the ones that are corroded out are the ones that are dead. The very first thing I'm going to do is, since those caps are so trashy anyway, I am going to actually remove them. And if we're really lucky, it might even be them. It's just they're so trashy, and I can't affix a wire onto there. It'll just bounce right off. So I'm sort of getting 2 for 1 here. Okay. So we may have cleared the short, or we have made a space for the short to be detected. Rightio. And as usual, I don't have a proper wire for this. Bending down is so much harder as you start to creep on. Yeah, Dragon, you won. Come on. Oh, dude. That's like guaranteed Dodgy Brothers style, which is just the way I like it. Any fellow Australians remember the Dodgy Brothers from Fast Forward in the, what was that, the 80s? Would have been the 80s or 90s, something like that. Remember always them selling cars or something, Dodgy Brothers. Back when Eric Bana was a comedian and actually intentionally made people laugh, as opposed to now where he's just a laugh. Shame I shouldn't say that. I'm sure he's quite good, but the poor guy's had a bit of a rough run when it comes to trying to be taken seriously. Alright. Let's get the... Gotta get the clamps. I suppose we should really be realistic about our voltages here. Okay, so we've got 5 amps output possible, and we're going to start at 2 volts. That'll give us 10 watts, which is more than ample for picking up a short. Okay. Connectoroo. And oh, that's where that cap went. It's a fun thing when you take these caps off, sometimes they fly off into random places, which means they can often actually become a real problem later when you can't find them. I'm running out of alcohol here, but let's see, on 1.6, so something's going on down here. That looks suspiciously like a inboard short, maybe. What's on the other side? Ah, it's these caps here. It's either these caps or it's a board short. Oh no, it's those caps, and that's awesome. Alright. Guess it's those. That's going to be fun. If I try to take those off, they'll probably cause that connector to melt. Yeah, Q's, if I actually put a little more current in, it probably would have ignited, but since this is not my board, I'm not really going to be able to do that, because as much as I'm sure there's an entertainment value in that, I'll probably get into trouble. Ah, come on. Let's just use Jess's method. Except I use something slightly different than what Jessa uses. I use my spudger. Spudger works well for MacBook ones. Now I've got to be careful because I don't want to... see, that one's a little harder in. And I don't want to push it too much that'll actually delaminate the board. Because of the heat that these things have suffered, it's entirely possible that they're ready to delaminate. Ah, can't get in at that angle. I'm waiting for someone to drop an innuendo there. Flux. Let's Yeah, some Australian, I am worried about ripping the pads, which is exactly why I didn't do it on the second one. There's a certain level of pressure that you know you can get away with, and then beyond that, you know you cannot. Hey CH Mod, haven't seen you for a while. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing okay there. I really need to shift this chat back to over the camera so that people don't think I'm looking weird. Yeah, I could do the iPhone Shield thing too, but I can pretty much guarantee this will most likely still melt under that iPhone Shield. Given that I've tried it quite a few times, and I always seem to be on the losing end of that idea. But I may have to still go for it. Yep, may still have to go for it. This is going to be unfortunate. Yeah, we made it. I was hoping that would happen. Dodgy Brothers star. You want a good MacBook repair? Yeah, come on down to the Dodgy Brothers. We'll do it fix for free. We use organic rice, so you get the best fix possible. All for $9.99. That's right, $9.99. Come on down to Dodgy Brothers MacBook repair today. Yeah, they were great. Oh, thank you, Ariel. I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, let's see if that short's gone away. Seems like the short's gone away. It's verified it's gone away. Yep. Q's, look, I completely agree. It really is nails on chalkboard stuff. Yeah, you have. If you never want to do that, then I completely, utterly, 100% support you, because it is it's a superb way of giving yourself a crap ton more work when you end up ripping something off. And that's why I generally will not do it with iPhones, because on iPhones I find you tear a pad, you're in for some real strife. Let's see. I gotta see what those caps were. 1645, 10 microfarad, 25 volts, 603. Oh dear lord, I hate those. I don't really hate them. It just seems I'm forever needing them, and I'm forever running out. I've got a 3437 here. I'll be right. Or a 165. There we go, 3437. This will have the ones I'm after. On the 3437, this bank here, and then this bank here, 10 microfarad, 25 volt, 603s. Like I said, I mean, yeah, I give full credit to Jessa when she can manage to do it without destroying things. She's obviously got the knack, she knows what she's doing, and I'm just saying I don't have that skill yet. I haven't done enough work on the iPhones to be able to have that necessary feel for what the limits are. And I said, if it's fine if it's your own boards and you're knocking off parts and you go whoopsie, but yeah, it's not something I would actually outwardly recommend. Because it depends, you're weighing up your risks on your damage, in the sense of sometimes trying to get a part off without knocking it off will produce more trouble than not. So I think it's important to be able to just weigh it up, decide yourself, you know, is this going to cause more damage this way, or is it going to be better this way? And I think it's important that people respect the fact that your personal choice on the matter is probably to do with, yeah, it may be an inexperienced thing too, but it could be your own internal risk evaluation, deciding based on a whole bunch of things. I suppose at the end of the day, as long as you don't botch up the board and as long as you get the job done, then bravo. I'm not sure where to get hot air stations in UK. I got my quick from Union Repair. I was going to get it from Lewis, but the sale with Lewis was derailed by the fact that USPS wanted like $1 billion to ship it. And it was like, this just isn't realistic. You know, I'm all for supporting when I can, but at the end of the day, I've got to have some money in my bank account still. So yeah, I got it from Union Repair. My soldering iron station I got from local Australian place, Mechatronics. They're pretty good. And that cap's not wanting to... See how it's puffed out there? That's because the side of that cap that I put down slightly corroded or oxidized. I shouldn't say corroded, it's oxidized. It should stick down now. Yep, there it goes. More flux, more heat probably would have solved that. Alright, I think that was an important one, so I think we'll give it a shot with the USB. I know there's the other ones on the back that I knocked off, but we'll leave them be for the moment. Yeah, Jess is a boss at ripping off stuff. She's got the talent, she knows what she's doing. And she can beat you down with one phrase to make you feel like you're a freshman student under the angry eyes of the professor. She's got that talent too. Yeah, let's cool this off first. Stick it in the air cooler. Yeah, I think right now the US could probably do well to actually introduce shipping bonuses. Well, yeah, just cheaper shipping, please, to outside of the US. I've still got 5 volts. Oh no, we got 20. Ha! We got 20 volts. We got a fan spin. Crikey! It was just. Interesting multimeter software, is this something you've designed? If so, can I purchase it? And are there certain meters it's compatible with? Trey, there's only about 4 meters that I've just written it for. Basically what happens is people have either sent me a meter or sent me the specs for the meter, the communication spec, and I just adapt the software to suit the spec. Unfortunately, when it comes to multimeters, they all generally have different protocols. Like even within the same brand, they have different protocols, mostly because they're all rebadged, rebranded from some other factory somewhere else. So the best way, the compromise way that this often works is people will send me a meter for me to keep, and I'll write the software for it for them to use. It's still a bit of a money loss for me in terms of time, because even the simple ones will take easily a couple of days to do and get cleaned up properly, especially if I'm building for Windows and Linux and maybe Mac OS, not so much Mac OS. But if you're after open source software though, there is a GPL project, I forget what it's called, but it handles hundreds of meters, so you might want to look for that in the first place. It's a little more comprehensive than the stuff I use, but the reason why I have got the one I've got is because, simply enough, I just wanted, let's see, I just wanted that simple block of text, nothing more, no fancy graphs and everything. That's all I wanted, simple block of text. Is that burn from the board on? Yeah, the tissue is, that's just me getting the hot air a little aggressive on it. Okay, well, we don't know if this is actually going to boot, but we'll give it a go. Put it in the chassis and see what happens. And I should have turned off the fume extractor. One of these days I will have time to tear apart this entire fume extractor system, because it's about 1.5 meters long, 300 by 200 overall. Let's say 300 square. So 300 by 300 by 1.5 meters. I need to just rip it out, rebuild the lot. I'd love a CNC system to do that, because I'm happy to design it in CAD, but if you put a saw in my hand, things get a bit wonky. Let's see. I'm going to get a different meter, going to retire my big meter. I don't like to put the capacitors back for the fan spin. There's no fan. That connector, I think that's just a speaker connector. It's not a fan. Oh wait, what am I saying? Wait, yes, there is a fan in this one. I forgot about that, sorry. For some reason I was thinking there was no fan. Idiot. Anyway, that's not for the fan as it is, I don't believe. The fan's on the other side. So certainly if it's just like a one-off thing, then I wouldn't bother. I tried to do it for a couple of popular meters, like the B-side ADM20 or whatever it is that I did. It actually is a nice meter because it, well, I've got it here. Batteries are running a bit low, funnily enough. Alright, let's go. So this meter here, this was sent in by someone. I do apologise if they're watching, but I've forgotten the name off the top of my head. It's rebranded under multiple different names, but it's great because it's got a proper USB mini connector up the top and it's a floppy cable, so there's no case of your multimeter being dragged around. It takes 4 AA's and it works with rechargeables, and it lasts a long time. The continuity test on it is very fast. The updates, I think it's around about 5 or 6 updates a second. It's great. Definitely, if you're not after precision and all that sort of stuff, if you're just after a meter that you do repairs with these sort of devices, and all you're really after is continuity and volts and resistance, they're great. And they're cheap. They're like less than $50 or something like that. And they work well, and the software's already written for it now. And Paul's yabbling away when he should be sticking things in. Okay, do we need that? No. This daughter board's going to need replacing too. In fact, pretty much every damn thing needs replacing on this. I wouldn't be surprised if even if the board's working, the screen is cactus. Okay, we're going to leave that daughter board disconnected. I'm going to put the trackpad keyboard in. That was a little bit unnerving, that noise. Things that sound too much like braking unnerve me. Come on. Come on. What are you doing? Okay. Oh, I didn't check the screen cable connector. Looks good. Okay, here goes. Dave Nally, if Fluke can produce I'm more than happy to recommend Fluke, but the trouble is, Fluke does not produce a meter like the 115, which is pretty much all you need, with a communications interface that doesn't cost the earth or doesn't have to be a great big blob on the back of the meter or anything like that. If Fluke can produce a meter that is like that one, in terms of physical size and everything, I'll happily pay a couple $100 for it if it does the trick. But they just seem to be a little adamant about not doing that. Anyway, we're delaying here on the interesting part of life, which is connecting up this USB. Come on, you can do it. No, Paul can't seem to plug things in at the moment. Paul shouldn't talk in third person. Oops. Must have bet the fan's powered off that daughter board. I bet you it is. Okay, we're on 20 volts. We're only 100 milliamp. And that's not a good sign. 90, 180. It might be coming up. 30, 40, 50. It seems to be doing something. It's certainly given some sort of boot. Yep, we've got an Apple logo. Hey, we are fixed. This is going to go in the ultrasonic, and then I'm going to have to clear up all the other trash that's going on there. Okay, that's off now. So there we go. We were fortunate that it was those caps, but I'd say that I'm going to have to be careful that CD3052 USB chip on the other side will have to be rechecked after the ultrasonic, I'd say, because it had a lot of junk in there. And so it won't surprise me if I send this back after just, say it's fixed or whatever, I would not be surprised if in a couple of weeks that gives grief because of corrosion coming back and just gnawing away at it. But the daughter board has to be replaced on that. A few other things. I'll definitely replace this out of a prudence level of precaution, because if you've got a bit of junk in there, then that can cause dramas later. There you go. We got lucky. That was definitely a bit of luck, that one. Okay, next job. What's the time anyway? Oh, okay, it's 11:30. I really need to go back to my board view work, but since you're all here, I may as well give you a taste of what's going on, since some people do actually watch me for my programming side of life. So, fixed buzz, never, yep, I agree. It's always good to get that thing going. I have an A8 DIY i3 3D printer. Injector quit ejecting film, got clogged and stripped. I think the problem with those sort of things, Qs, is that the steppers in them just don't have the torque holding capability that are required for if you're doing routing. That's generally it, because you get the laser CNC, you get the 3D printer CNC and stuff like that, and the steppers on them are usually NM17s or fairly low ones. Whereas as soon as you start trying to push a heavy Z-axis around sort of thing, they can't hold. So as soon as your router bit tries to bite into the material, they just start wiggling off. So you got to really up to like NM23s or something like that, or at least. Anyway, I'm still looking at about $1,200 to get one. Let's see. You guys don't get to see much of this. I'm just gonna have to switch you over to me like that for a moment while I do this. You're here for the kiddies. Too bad the kiddies aren't here, eh? Get pull. build, recompile, and then let's see. 168.1.165 development. Almost there, almost there. Not a regular file. Of course not, it's a subdirectory. Well, folder really. Okie doke. Okay, let's see if this works. Better work. I'm just trying to think. Now I'm going to make sure it works without showing you if it's going to work. Alright. Yay, it does. Alrighty. So it brings into central. Shift that. There we go. Alright. So, a few of you might recognize what this is. And for those who don't, it's an iPhone 7 Plus Qualcomm board. And as you can see, it's a proper working board view. And there's a bunch of others that I've been working on. iPhone 5. Yeah, I've got to fix up that little defect. There's a few defects around, but yeah, it's going to be all fixed up. It's a file. What's it? 6, oh my goodness. Working on this iPhone 6 was just an absolute flippin' nightmare. Almost every single thing in here had to be redone. It was a real challenge. I do have the 10 as well, but I haven't put it into... I've got the iPad mini. We've got another defect in there. What's that? Color preferences. Put them in Rob Brown's color preference. Anyway, so in a little while we'll be having this sort of stuff floating around. Duranahaha, it's not a bad keyboard. This is a IKVC one. It's a cherry blue. It's not as good as a buckling spring, but it's all I could get my hands on in short notice. The only other option I've got is to buy a new buckling spring from the United States, like one of the new key comp ones or whatever. That's about a $200 Australian thing for me to get. So you know, I can't really justify it at the moment. Let's see. Cues with this, it's a new file format that I'm working on, but I can't distribute these files. I mean, I've basically, I just can't do anything with them legally. Certainly I can't. The funny thing is, these are actually custom built. They're not from Apple. These are derived from ancient old stuff. But you never know, they might pop up somewhere here and there. There's still a lot of work to do on them. Things that are just not quite right. In fact, to the point where if people, let's see, if people were using the data that I originally started with, then there would be a lot of very dead phones around because the data was just wrong on so many points. So yeah, like I said, a lot of it basically has been rewritten from scratch. You got a charge port issue he has with the Teresa. That's probably, I'm guessing, if you tried the TriStar on that, if you've already changed the charger flex. But yeah, I don't do a lot with iPhones. I find them a little bit nerve-wracking still. iPhone sort of 5S, 6 Plus, 6S, that sort of thing, I'm fine with. The 7 I'll barely touch. I just send it off to people who know what they're doing. People like, there's Bill down at A1 Mobiles down in I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, he's just gotten a new store, by the way. So if you're in Australia and you do have an iPhone, need repair and things like that, look up Bill from A1 Mobiles. He's really good at it. He's fast. He does it at a good price. I'm not saying cheap. I'm just saying a good price. But yeah, he's very good at what he does. He's never let me down. And if it can't be fixed, it can't be fixed. But if it can, then he is quite the guy to go for. I will work on the iPhones if it turns up here and says it's got liquid damage or something comparatively simple. Mostly for me, the only reason I'm working on this is because the world needs board views as actual files, because right now we are handcuffed to servers that we don't even know where they are, and we don't know what's being transmitted out of our machines when we're trying to work on these board views, because the machine's got to be connected all the time, or at some point has to be connected. Whereas I prefer it if you can have, like we have the MacBook files, you can download the files from dark web locations, and then you can keep your machine disconnected off the net and use it as you require. And if anything happens out there, you have got your data right here, and that's important. Yeah, it's been really frustrating that we've got these pretty good MacBook boards as board views, but for some reason the phones just won't come out as files. So this project that I'm working on is a start of unraveling that binding process that we've been stuck in, and making it so that people will be able to finally get files, and hopefully it will inspire other people to start creating their own board files as well. So I'm working on the software to create the board views. You can start from things like a scanner image of the blank circuit boards. Like you can buy the blank iPhone circuit boards. If you scan both sides of it, that gives you a pretty good idea to start with where your pads are all going to be. And then you can reference back to the PDF. As long as we have the schematic as a PDF from Apple, so it will be correct as best as you can get with Apple or any other manufacturer, to be honest, because let's be real here, most of the other manufacturers, their schematics are also equally as dodgy. It's just we like to punch in on Apple because it's fun. By the way, thank you very much, Steve Abram. I appreciate that. 10 quid for the kiddies. They will very much love that, particularly Micro, who obviously is on a particular strenuous diet at the moment due to his diabetic situation. And he is going really well. He's going really well. Today is the 3rd week. He has put on quite a bit of weight, thankfully. 3 weeks ago, the poor little guy I would go to bed most nights wondering what I'll be waking up to in the morning with Micro, because he was just on thin ice so much that I would be so thankful that he would sleep in the room with me, and so I'd be able to keep my eye on him the whole time. Now he's a completely different cat, so amazing what a bit of insulin can do. I want to do board views of my own, old retro. Teresa, if you want to do board views of your own MG, like if you're doing up schematics and replicating things, if you get a program like Eagle or KiCad, things like that, and you create the board and the schematic in those, then you can export them in a format that FlexBoardView will read in now, like GenCAD, Hyperlinks, IDC 356. There's a whole bunch that are now supported. So, and if you're a manufacturer and you've got repairs, repair desks or something like that, and you want to be able to send those people information so they can repair the boards, but don't want to send them the actual main file from or CAD or whatever, then you can export these board view and schematic variants, and then they'll be able to be read. So do it up in KiCad or do it up in Eagle PCB or something like that. Then you can export it, and then it can be shared. Sounds like you've got more work to be done until being released. Yeah, definitely got more work to be done. The core engine inside has been done at least, and now it's a case of it's just a lot of work to go through, checking the nets, checking the parts, just adding them bit by bit. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's the sort of thing you want to farm out to about 100 people and get them all to do little sections, and that is why I want to be able to do a community board view project where everybody can just sort of add in their own little bit. Like if you get 100 people doing 10 components, that's it, you've done the board, it's done. So that's the theory. We need an update video. Yes, on the kitty cats, well, I can do that, and on the board view I will do that later. So alright, it's now well past 11:30, and by that I mean 6 minutes past 11:30, so I'm gonna head off. Thank you all for watching. We got lucky, board's repaired. I'll put that through the ultrasonic tomorrow. Hopefully it'll still work after the ultrasonic, because it does happen sometimes. You put them in the ultrasonic, they come out all shiny and clean, but they don't work anymore. But yeah, I'll send that back as is after I've ultrasonicked and tested it, but the rest of the parts on that system, they'll have to be changed by the person who sent it to me, because it's another shop. So let's see, can you message me on Discord the names of the programs I have some repair? Sure, I'll do that, Teresa, no worries. Alright, I'm out of here, you take care, and I'll see you next time.